Hello, my name is Miss Beth. I'm a fourth grade social studies and ELA teacher. Today I'll be presenting a lesson on a significant historical event and the role it played in North Carolina. So I have two learning goals. My first learning goal comes from Social Studies Standard 4.H.1.4 to summarize the role North Carolina has played in major conflicts and events throughout the history of America. And the second standard is an ELA standard, standard RL 4.2, to determine a theme of a story, drama, or poem from details in the text and to summarize the text. Next, we're moving on to the learner objectives. So, by the end of the lesson, there are three things that the students will be able to do. The first one, students will be able to identify and analyze the impact of North Carolina's involvement in key historical events, such as the Civil War, by using the timeline. The second one, students will be able to summarize the main points and the role of North Carolina in the events of the American Civil War by writing a paragraph. And third, students will be able to evaluate the significance of North Carolina's contributions to the American Civil War by completing a graphic organizer. So throughout this lesson, there are going to be two research-based instructional strategies that are used. First one, we have the primary source analysis, which will be utilized during the independent practice. This is where students will develop their own historical interpretations based off the evidence given. And secondly, we have cooperative learning. This will be used during the guided practice where students work in groups to have improved social skills, higher academic achievement, and increased motivation compared to those in traditional learning environments. Okay, there are several resources that are going to be used. First one, I have a map of the United States during the Civil War. Here is an example that the students will get. Is going to be much bigger, but this is one of the pictures, the maps. Then I have a video clip, the book, a graphic organizer, and handouts of the timeline, including North Carolina's involvement in the Civil War. All right, there were different levels of the Bloom's level of thinking that were used. So we have analyzing, evaluating, summarizing, and that's it. So my essential question for today would be, could the events of the Civil War have had any effect on North Carolina's history? All right. Next, my first step teaching the lesson, we're going to do a pre-assessment. So I'm going to just show you guys what the pre-assessment is going to look like, and then we're going to go over the vocabulary words. So this is the pre-assessment. You have a short passage to read. You have your some of your vocabulary words in bold, and then you have some true or false questions and some multiple choice questions. You have 10 questions in all. This is just a pre-assessment to see what it is that you guys know and what it is that you may need help on. All right, next thing I'm going to show is the video clip. So here is the video. So I'm gonna kind of skip through this. It's a real short video. You see different pictures. This is showing like different items that we use, like the bombs. Okay. Then we have the houses. So here we see a memorial for those who fought at war or was near where the war took place. All right. So next thing we are going to do, we're going to shift a little bit and go ahead and start reading aloud the book. I'm not going to read it within these next few minutes, but if we were in class, we would read the whole book, kind of summarize everything that was going on. So I kind of skimmed through it, and while I'm reading, I'm going to pull a few pictures from the bag of items that were used during the Civil War, or items that, things that happened around the Civil War or was out during that time. Those items will include an American picture of an American flag, the equipment that was used during the war, pictures of the war taking place. Like I said, the map of the United States during the war, pictures of shells and different artifacts that they had during the war. So give me a second. All right. So this is the book. The book that I found was on Epic. So if we were in class, students would log into their Epic book and their Epic account, and we will all read the book as a class. And I also post it up on the monitor screen. So, this is a book by Thomas K. Adamson. It is called The Civil War. So the table of contents, it focused on the Battle of Gettysburg, the causes of the war, the all-out war, the Union victories, and the end of the war. So as you see, it's showing the battle, and also a map is included here of the United States. Then they have the states separated. So the Union states are in blue, the Confederate states are in red, and the border states are in yellow. All right, so as you can see, the war was caused by the northern and southern states. This right here is a monument to the 1st Minnesota Infantry stands near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. All right, you see the slaves working in the fields on the plantations. Here is a place called the Atlantic where some people stayed. And as you can see, you see some people out there doing a little work. A flag is posted up there. And right here you see the South's warm climate was perfect for cotton. People who worked on large farms called plantations. So the large farms where people work were called the plantations. All right, this part talks about slaves being sold. I'm sorry. All right. And right here, this kind of favors, this picture that's up here kind of favors this building. All right. All right, the all out war. So this part right here is talking about the war. So as you can see, I do have a cutout picture of the war taking place. So as you can see, you also see the American flag being used. And if you want to see a close-up picture of the flag, I have one. The American flag. And it has Union up there. So this was used for the Union states. And let's go back a little. So America, North Carolina, where we are located, was a part of the Confederate States. All right. All right. This here talks about still talking about the war, the two sides. At this point in the book, both sides claimed victory for the Battle of Shiloh, but it was failure for the Confederates, which was North Carolina, Virginia, so on and so forth. This here is a picture of the Civil War artifacts. So you have money, little notes that were written, stuff about the troops, North Carolina troops. I'm not sure if you can see it good. All right, so you have different stuff. All right, so President Lincoln, who is in the center right here, he visited one of the places after the Civil War's deadliest battle. So he looks a little angry. So I'm thinking maybe a few soldiers were lost, killed, where they were more than 23,000 were killed, wounded, or missing between both armies. All right, here is a picture of some of the equipment that was used. And right here, so it says diseases. Battles were not the only danger soldiers faced. Diseases killed the soldiers for everyone killed in battle. Dirty camps, a bad diet of living in accordance with lots of other soldiers contributed to high levels of sickness. So, right here is a picture of the Civil War soldiers where they gave themselves syphilis while trying to avoid smallpox. So it's a bunch of soldiers. Some may be dead, but you can't really tell because the picture is kind of dark. But I was able to find a picture. So they're scattered out, and then they have little tents set up to help treat the treatment. Then we have right here, we have the Union victories. So the Confederates had won the great victory. So North Carolina stakes. All right, here is a picture of 10-inch shells that were used during the war. All right. All right, and the picture of up here, General Sherman. He met with his staff near Atlanta, Georgia in July 1861. Is showing a cannon, like a cannon bomb. I'm guessing that's what it's called. Yeah, cannon. And here, right here, is a picture. I'm not sure if you can see. Right here is a picture of a cannon, and it has some of the same men surrounding. All right, and here is just other information about the war. And this is the end of the war. Here is a timeline, and I also provided one, but this is of more than just North Carolina state. So it includes South Carolina, Manassas, Virginia, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So it includes more than just North Carolina. And here is the glossary. So everything was included with the book. All right, next we're going to move on to our guided practice. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to hand out a timeline. And students, you guys are going to analyze the timeline and identify key events and its significance. So let's move on to the timeline. So I'm going to give you a timeline. This is the timeline. It includes 10 different things that took place, and I want you to analyze it. And then we are going to discuss it as a class. All right. Next, you're going to break out in independent practice. I'm going to issue everyone a graphic organizer. On one side of the organizer, you have the significance of North Carolina's contribution. And on the other side, I want you guys to provide evidence and examples of each. Everyone needs to have about 5 or 6, and then we're going to come back as a whole in the end. All right. So once we come back together, I'm going to ask that every student write a paragraph summarizing the main points and the role of North Carolina in the events of the American history. And then we're going to have a Socratic seminar, and that's going to be the end of our class period. Thank you.